To tell you the truth, I was nervous about posting this review. I wrote up this whole explanation about why you should respect pornographic works and kinky art, about how respectability politics is a hole that throws our most vulnerable under the bus for, at best, compromised losses, how queer existence is often labeled as pornographic, and if we let them, conservatives will keep redlining us out of existence, and that gay liberation has been spearheaded by kink communities and sex workers from the start. I wrote that script a while ago, and scheduled it to post on July 18th. Well, in the middle of the night, July 23rd, itch.io quietly de-indexed all content tagged not safe for work, adult, and many other mature tags, delisting 2 of my own works, Helm and Shield and You Will Surely Go Mad. Itch.io took down many works without warning, such as Darling Demon Eclipse's Don't Test My Love, a powerful and deeply personal queer game. This was at the behest of Visa and MasterCard, who were pressured by Australian special interest group Collective Shout to censor adult and mature works. Right now, I'm more angry than I am nervous. If you respect my work, or queer art in general, I encourage you to pause this video, go to yellat.money, and pick some phone numbers to call. This happened because a handful of determined assholes raised a stink. We need to be louder, more visible, more undeniable, or we will lose access to an entire genre of art, and lose the bulwark of free speech that protects difficult, complex, beautiful, and worthwhile work from fascist censorship. All that said and done? Okay, enjoy the review. Slug Fest has 2 goals: to have fun and to get you off. Slug Fest wants you to slime up and wiggle around, to have weird, beautiful sex in a weird, beautiful arthropod. You can have a shell if you want, it doesn't mind. I was surprised by the sheer variety of sensuous writhing in Slug Fest. I, an outsider and a fool, thought surely one would exhaust the limits of the soft and slick relatively quickly. Slug Fest says no. In fact, there are at least 22 ways to squirm in delight. Something tells me Cog had to narrow it down to these 22 unique features of slugdom, 22 different partners to roll around with, and all themed thoughtfully to the major arcana card that instigates them in play. Slugfest doesn't care what deck you use. In fact, it even suggests you could number some index cards 0 to 21 and shuffle those. But the prompts still understand each tarot card's underlying meanings, utilizing them not just as numbered prompts, but as structural frames from which the fantasies enticingly droop. My favorite is probably the Magician, but they're all great in their own ways, and I won't spoil the rest for you. It's a free game. Find the link in the description, take a look for yourself, and toss Cog a tip and a thoughtful comment while you're there. Slugfest's system is based on the To Change system by Duck and Ewan. Slugfest sells itself as a single-player journaling game, and the play is all in the fantasy. Slugfest sets up the scenario for you, and wants you to play it out for yourself. The prompts are provocative and compelling, and ooze with glee no matter the situation they pose you in. Sometimes the transformation finds you willing, sometimes it catches you by surprise, but it's always interesting, and always an opportunity to enjoy yourself and get a little sexy and a little silly. Sex is already kind of ridiculous, isn't it? I think it's interesting that its illustrations portray the human elements of the sexy slug people relatively normatively. There are rows and rows of tits, and they're all water balloon perky. The head and shoulders at the front of the long, soft slug body have delicate collarbones and pretty faces smiling from behind long locks. I understand that the contrast is part of the appeal here. The contrasting symbols of slug and sex symbol makes the one titillating and the other queasy. The bouncy tits undeniably sexualize the slug body where less exaggerated features might allow some interpretive leeway. That, too, is part of the fantasy, to simultaneously be thin and attractive, and also moist and flaccid. To delight normative sexuality, and also to perplex and repulse it. It is a cheeky push and pull, coupled with the majority of the prompts assuming you have a human partner. Slugfest has space for slithery slug-on-slug action, of course, what are we doing here, but it doesn't treat it with as much nuance or variation as the human partner options, leaving that to the player's imagination beyond the prompts. There is no end state to Slugfest. You start with one cause that transforms you. Then, you explore each event as it changes you bit by bit into and out of and back into the slug you were always meant to be. Stop whenever you like, start whenever you like. You're on slime time now, there's no rush. The back of the book is full of lovingly and beautifully rendered body options to choose from. Why not try each on for size? How does that change the events you play? Are arms really that important, ultimately? There's a lot to like about Slug Fest. The PDF itself is full of hyperlinks that make it a breeze to flip back and forth through. The tone of the writing is fun and flirty and coy, and the game mechanically encourages the same kind of mix and matching of the prompts as it does its paper doll-like bodily features. It's not perfect. I find the main font really unpleasant to read, and the text could really use some space to breathe between the columns and the art. But that's my only real complaint. Like I said at the top, it's not my bag, but I do admire it, and I think it does what it sets out to do successfully and with gusto. I'm just a hagfish fellow myself. Totally different.